Good morning. This is CEO and founder, I should say founder and CEO Nina Gibbs with Swim Foundations. We're happy to be here this morning. We hope everybody in the swim world is joining us and getting some great information out of what we have to share. I just invited Alice Teeters, my sister and kind of partner in this Wednesday live video, to join us, so she should be coming on here any second. Just a reminder, what we're all about at Swim Foundations is helping teachers, helping program managers teach better swim lessons and get kids really swimming. Here comes Alice. We also have our own swim school here based in Reading. I kind of run it. It's low key right now. My mom has her own set of huge swim lessons, so we're always keeping busy. Good morning, Alice.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, we're set. I can see you, I can see me, and we are horizontal.
Yay.
Okay, so I just did a little intro, reminded people what we're all about, helping train teachers to teach better swim lessons, essentially.
Yes.
And Alice works over in Austin, Texas at one of the biggest swim schools there, and I run a small at-home private kind of mobile swim school here in Reading during the summers. But most of our information, what we have to offer, is derived from the experience we got from working with our mom, Miss Phoebe. So you'll hear us throw that name around quite a bit. And in the background, we are working on building some training curriculum to share that with the rest of the world. We really deep down want to change how swimming is taught on a kind of standard level. So We'll see how that goes. We could use your support and input on that process.
Great.
We met last week. Last week was our first Facebook Live video. This is our second one. Last week we talked about the journey of learning to swim, the learn to swim journey, right? And do you want to kind of sum that up in maybe a sentence or two of what we talked about in the learn to swim journey? I can do it too, but
sure.
Throw that over to you.
Sure. I think what I remember is we discussed that it does vary on the child's body type, emotions, willingness, but that if you're equipped with a methodology that you can provide an outlined, from lesson 1 to lesson 8 practice, that you'll have great results within a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So besides body type and besides, child's emotions, it does vary, but breath control and balance, achieving breath control and balance, meaning you can release from holding the child and allow them to manipulate the water, float, and move through the water. And then essentially what we discussed was, what is swimming? That is a child being able to move through the water and find their air independently.
Right. We also touched on the fact that it is a journey, like reading, like learning to read or learning to ride a bike. We get so many questions from parents asking, well, are they going to learn to swim after those 2 weeks? And it's a real hard question to answer. So we won't go into all the details. If you want to hear more, you can look at that last video we did. Today, we're going to talk about that emotional journey, specifically in a 2-week session. So the way I teach in the summertime is an 8-day session, 4 days, Monday through Thursday, then another 4 days, Monday through Thursday. And there's a specific emotional process that happens during that time with younger aged children usually. So let's talk about that today. You want to get it started?
Sure thing. It's
what is the first
hi, Sasha.
Like? Here's my child.
It's hi, honey. Hi. It's very interesting. Over the years, many years of inviting and initiating an 8-day session, you will have a child that starts out with interest. They
excitement,
interest, but a little bit overwhelmed, but they are accepting of the environment. You would notice that from the first day compared to the second and third day, where the parents will say, I don't know why they're fussing. I don't know why they're crying. They talked about this all day. They couldn't wait to get here, and now they're crying. And when you see it, this is almost like a formula. It's very, very
Yeah.
interesting to see day one where they take it in, even if you put them under a couple times, they take it in, they took their breath, they went under, they're very careful, and they have this spectrum of like what's going on at the pool. Second and
Like,
third
what's
day,
my mom or dad's role in this? Also, like,
mhm,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
second and third day, they can cry, scream, um, say, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to go in. When you presented this format of what we were going to talk about today, I thought about the children, not all of them scream and cry, but you'll see a lot of them come in a little bit more cautious. They're
Yep.
like, whoa. I mean,
Having a
we're
lot
talking
more
about going
separation
underwater,
anxiety from
separation anxiety, going underwater, holding their breath, all these kind of things that can be new. Um, these are large concepts. These are impactful to their memory, to their sensories, all that kind of stuff. So it's a big deal. But it's always interesting to see how new this is for the parents. They're mystified. They're like, I don't understand. They talked about this all night. They couldn't wait to see you. And now they're crying. And our advice to instructors is stay the course.
stay
Invite
the
them in.
course.
Stay the course. Invite them in. Speak to the parent and the child and comfort with confidence. Comfort them in knowing that they're going to be okay. We're not going to do too much today. We're staying the course. What I wanted to touch on is that sometimes the second or the third day, a lot of times when you do a session, the third day can be the peak of their emotion. They can really throw a fit. You can sometimes expect that with children who are new to swim lessons and new to going under the water. So when you have a child throwing a fit, because it happens, I've found that the sooner you take them under the water, it fizzles. It absolutely fizzles. They'll be irate sometimes or loud, crying, trying to move away from you. You can't just dunk them, but your
We don't dunk.
conversation,
We do not dunk. Oh, that
no,
word drives me
absolutely
crazy
not.
because parents will
You
use that in
have to
that
be
way.
very
We don't dunk.
clear and absolutely. It's not about dunking them underwater. It's about, even though they're crying, getting close to their ear or their eyes and saying, okay, we're going underwater. If you're so worried about it, let's just go underwater and see how you feel after. Whatever the conversation is, you have to be the one that is guiding them, and you have to be the one to make them realize you're just little, and mommy brought you to me, and I'm going to help you today. Quiet down and listen. Here we go. Ready, set, go. Because we generally teach them the command and the sequence of how we're going to put them underwater the first day. They
Right.
know it. Second lesson, third lesson, they know when teacher's going to say ready, set, go, and the way we lift them before going under, they know we're not joking around. We're not,
Right. We've already shown them that cueing, and we've
yep,
demonstrated it with them. We've demonstrated it with them without even going under yet, but then they know what to expect. And all of
exactly.
these, so we're at day 3. We're going to get to day 4 through 8, but this is a big reason why younger and less experienced instructors have a hard time. And this is
Yes,
why, at least in our region, we
yes,
get dozens and hundreds of children coming to us in the summer, and almost all of them say they've been going to the city lessons for 3 years and they haven't learned anything, or they've been going to
yes,
this other organization and they don't make them do anything. This is
yeah,
where they get stuck, and so they end up coming
yeah,
to the more experienced teachers so that we can work through that.
exactly.
But the other point of that is, when you're a program manager and you're running a lesson program, you are like yourself, you are dealing with less experienced instructors, so that's
Yeah.
also a hard thing for a manager.
Right. So here's what I could say about that. Okay, we're still looking at day 3, but also we just included that type of conversation of what type of program are you? Are you the type of program that allows weeks to months of a child asking them to go underwater?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you help them underwater? So I have basically, and here's where a manager or a swim school or any type of place that's providing lessons, and you have younger, inexperienced teachers standing in this position, being responsible to help the child learn how to go underwater, this is where you have to learn skills. This is where you have to use techniques that are proven and work.
Yep.
So for nitro, for example, station 1 of nitro 1 is you pass station 1 when you can go underwater for the count of 5. Okay, so back in the days before I started weaving some of our concepts throughout the curriculum, you would have children on station 1 for weeks and weeks because they don't really know how to put themselves underwater. If they haven't done it, this is where you can teach an instructor to use a sequence and body holds and how to watch for their breath to help them underwater. If you help a
And
child
we're not
underwater,
talking about just holding the child under for 5 seconds.
we're not. We're not talking about holding them under. We're talking about how to provide a submersion with air. So
and they come up and they're
it's
fine.
skillful.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, getting a child to take their breath and to actually submerge them underwater, this is skillful. It's a technique, and it actually provides comfort for the rest of their swim lesson journey. You can accomplish from day 1 to day 3, where even a kid that's kicking, screaming, crying, but still get them under 3 to 5 times for that lesson. Watch what happens day 4.
So let's
Watch
go on
what
to
happens
day 4.
day 5.
Let's go day 4, day 5. What does this look like? And with us, it's usually day 4 is a Thursday, so before a break. Day 4 is usually breakthrough, major breakthrough.
Yep. And they're proud of themselves. They're going underwater. The parents will talk about how they've been doing it in the bathtub all night long. So within 3 days, you can really get a child to accept the underwater mystery. You know, they're fascinated with it. They're fascinated with the compression. They're fascinated with the different sound. They feel proud of their accomplishment. So yeah, did they cry a little bit? And did we help them under and they say, no, I don't, blah, 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 I don't want to do any of that? It is better to move them through the emotional hardship of going under. It's better to move them through that than to prolong it. Because this is what I was saying earlier. Sometimes day 3, when the emotions are heightened and you actually don't waste much time, you basically tell them, we're going under. Get your breath, here we go. And they go under and they come up, and guess what? The volume is down. They're not screaming and crying. They actually...
And they're more tentative and aware of, okay, I need to be ready for this. You can see that on their face. It's like, I don't have time to cry anymore. I got to be ready for this thing because this is kind of scary.
Because I just threw my biggest fit. I just gave it my all, and she did it anyway.
Yep.
Okay, I'll chill.
So then we got through the first week. Day 4 is oftentimes major breakthrough, jumping in, going under, all of that. And in our methods, we continue to push. So there's never like, oh, just a fun day. I had a great time and nothing was scary. There's a weekend. They come back Monday. Sometimes Monday, they have a little reminder of some of the rough stuff, and Monday can be acclimating them again. So it's a smooth, easy,
little bit of a review.
Remember who I am. You trust me. This is what we do. We do some of the we do some of the same things every single day in a swim lesson, so that the child can start to, they already know that first 5-10 minutes, it's not a scary time, so they can get in without any fear. But then day 5 through 8, I think can kind of vary. You definitely see the rhythm of day 1 through 4. Day 5 through 8.
A little bit.
On posing smaller, not small, but posing small challenges along the way and continuing to challenge them and continuing to show them that they can get through that. And then that pride comes out, the reward, all of those things. So do you want to talk a little bit about day 5 through 8?
Sure. Your screen is frozen up on my end. I don't know if I'm...
It'll
Still
probably
going, but
unfreeze. It's
anyway,
not
yes.
frozen on me.
Okay, good. Okay, so 5 through 8, like you said, that's going to depend, if they're a little bit older, you'll see things move more quickly as far as our kicking and breathing concepts, okay? Getting a little more rhythmic in holding the breath, holding the head and body position, okay, kicking bubbles before you breathe. Learning how to exchange the air pressure is essential for independent swimming, especially if you're talking about being able to swim for a certain distance. A child just can't hold their breath and take in air, hold their breath and take in air, hold their breath and take in air, and continue to swim comfortably. So this is where mom's fundamentals and her techniques as far as sitting on the steps, sitting underwater on their bottom, and then rising to the surface, walking on the bottom and floating up to the surface, kicking and breathing where we hold the air pressure, exhale to come up for a fresh breath, but continue your motor skills. All of those things start happening by instructing, by asking them to do it without a big fight, because we just got the major concept, the major initial swim lesson done. We've just notched up, because now when I say ready, set, go, you're drawing your air in and you're going underwater.
Yeah.
What's that?
The obedience kind of kicks in. They start to listen better.
Yes.
And because we do a lot of the same activities and exercises each day, the rhythm of the class is like this. So they know what I mean when I'm saying on your tummy, kicking, kick your feet behind you. They know what bobs are.
Yeah.
They can start to kind of go like that. It's great. I love that.
Yes.
It's always,
yes, you can get more done.
The first, second day when you have a group lesson, 3, 4 kids in there, and how it's just like one child will just run out the steps into mom. They don't realize yet that this is a class. You stay in the pool. You have to ask. And then by that second week, they get it. They kind of get the flow of the class, which is great. It helps everybody.
Yes. And that's something that I have to instruct parents and educate parents when they come in and their child's fussing and they're like, oh, I don't understand, what's going on. They go to preschool, they do this, that, and the other. Well, if it's a new environment, children don't always have a concept of time.
Right.
So, even with little kids, I'll point to our big clock and say, you're only here for half of the clock. And then you go back to mom and dad. You always go, you can't stay with me. Some of them that are really fussing, I'll say, you can't stay here. You have to go home in your car. Did you drive in? I'll ask them about their vehicle. And then yeah, but I literally tell them, there's more kids coming and you can't stay with us. You have to go to your towel and go to your mom and you have to go home. You cannot stay here. And they're like,
comfort.
Oh,
okay, great. I'm not going to be here forever.
Truth.
Okay, so
truth, yeah.
We covered day 1 through 8 of what a typical session would look like, especially during the summertime. And I know lots of swim schools have maybe 1 class a week. There are lots of different ways schools operate, but this is something we wanted to share today about day 1 through 8. So if you have any questions, anybody watching, if you have questions about how that could look differently, the emotional journey for a different schedule or a different setup, just let us know. We can think about it and get back to you. And then tons of topics came up today that I have on our list to talk about on other Wednesdays. Talking to parents, getting parents on board with what's going on, because they can really make things difficult, and grandparents are even worse. So getting grandparents and parents on board at the beginning, how you do that. Maybe next time we talk about this one. I see a lot of swim programs talking about no crying, basically. Like, none of us want children to cry when we're teaching them swimming. We want them to be comfortable and happy and love what they're doing, and that is usually a result of the process that we use. But I see a lot of swim schools talking about basically incorporating that whole philosophy into every lesson, so the baby's never crying, the child's never crying or upset. And I want to talk about how realistic that is, because a lot of kids they're not even in the pool yet, and they're fussing and crying about being separate from mom or dad. So I'd like to tackle that topic next week. And if anybody wants to chime in or join in, please do, because I don't personally think it's realistic to have absolutely no crying or fussing when you're teaching swimming lessons.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to cry. We're told to cry every now and then, you know.
Right.
Um,
Just say it's good to cry,
the
but
whole
not
thing
once
can
in a
be an
while.
emotional. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this though. Warm water. Children, I've seen such a difference just out here being in an indoor facility. When you have warm water, there's not that, you know, you'll have children that go through a crying bout on those first 3 lessons, but warm water can take away all that.
Right. Nervous energy and all that kind of.
The
Gosh.
water temperature is huge in their comfortability. It's
Yep,
an
with this
extremely
age
different
range.
swim lesson when you have colder water.
Yep, 0 to 5. I would say the 0 to 5 water temperature is hugely important. Okay, we'll dig into that next week. Thanks for chiming in, being here, and we'll